Hi, this is Justice Knight filling in for Lisa Haven. I'm going to start by asking for some patience. I'm a writer for Before It's News, but Lisa's asked me to fill in for her with this quick YouTube video. Although at first attempt, I'm going to take what could be a simple topic, but nonetheless controversial, titled The Inquisition of Christianity, Is God Dying? In 1966, Time published its iconic cover that stated, Is God Dead? In 1965, Lou Harris' findings were that 97% of Americans believed in God. By 2014, that percentage had dropped to 86%. A shocking statistic when you look further into how many Christians there are in the world, which we'll cover a little bit later in this segment. But we got to start somewhere. So are we in the midst of a modern-day religious inquisition? Not near the depravity or horror that was involved in the Spanish Inquisition, where Catholics persecuted anybody not of their denomination and forced them to either subscribe to Christianity and or leave Spain, or unfortunately meet with a horrific death. We must first understand the statistics behind religions. As you'll see on the chart, Christians account for 31% of the overall world population. Understanding this is in 2015, but still the most current chart I could come across, followed tightly by Muslims, and then Hinduism, and then the other religions break down from that point. If you look slightly below, you'll see the numbers in billions of people in the world that are covered by each religion, Christians in particular, at 2.3 billion. The following chart will describe the growth. And if you look, this becomes just a bit more shocking. Muslims are projected to grow by 70%, Christians only by 34%. Making Muslim the most predominant religion in the world. Those are big statistics, understanding that Christianity has been the dominant force for all of recorded history. So they say that numbers don't lie, and what brings us to this point? What numbers else did I see that concerns me? We're going to go into spirituality versus religion. In America, spirituality is actually growing at a higher place than religion. Spirituality being the ability for one to give their own interpretation of a deity, let's say, and religion being the exact interpretation by formalized religion. By, let's say, the Bible, let's say by a text, let's say by a service, a church service, whatever it may be, but a formalized version of religion, much different than spirituality. As you'll see on the chart on your screen, religion has declined from 59% who identify themselves as religious and spiritual down to 48%. While those who call themselves spiritual but not religious has increased from 19 to 27%. Again, a rather alarming statistic in that Christianity has been such a dominant force, but let's go deeper now. Let's go into the actual numbers. And let's see by religion, what is happening to the population? How is it adjusting? How is it changing? What is the actual facts and figures behind this trend? You'll see that Christianity is declining by 7.8% between the years of 2007 and 2014. It goes down further into Protestant, evangelical, mainline, historic, black, Catholic, and you'll see each figure, each percentage is negative. What's increasing? You'll see that the Muslim religion and Hinduism. Well, Muslims, based on their increased birth rate and increased population, are quickly accelerating, which we saw evidence of in the previous chart, showing how quickly at a 70% plus rate that religion is going to increase over the next 45 or so years. And you go further in the chart and you see agnostic. Now, I don't mean to poke fun at any religion or belief, but agnostic really, I'm going to neither confirm nor deny the existence of anything, anyone, or anything. Oh my gosh, what a wonderful way to live. I can't do it personally, but seriously. So now we're going to go on to why I believe the 4 reasons for the decline of religion. And it's stated in the Huffington Post, and I personally agree with their methodology. It's the 4 primary reasons. It's why I'm going to state it. Not necessarily every word they put in an article, like nobody would ever agree with 100% of everything, but nonetheless, the 4 are pretty solid. The first starts with organized religion versus spirituality, which we already covered, so I'm not going to bore you with that fact again. But again, that spirituality is growing at a greater increase. They cite the same Pew survey that I cited earlier in this document. as I cited earlier in this broadcast. And then tribalism versus humanitarianism. Again, not terms I would use by any stretch. This is the rise of globalism. How is globalism impacting religion? How are our children impacting religion? Our children are, I don't know if you have kids, I do, many of you do, many in the audience do. And if you ever watch, I sit across the couch while we're watching a movie or actually trying to have a family discussion, and the only family discussion, I think I've had another son called the phone, or daughter called the iPhone, because that's all they look at. That's all they communicate with. It's continual. It's constant. If you've ever looked at their threads, their feeds, their Twitter, their accounts, their Facebooks, and you let them put down their phone for just a few minutes, you will see a series of communication, 30, 40, 50 times of a constant stream of communication. Well, within that constant stream of communication, they're being exposed to so much more information than I ever was as a child. This could include religious influences. They can suddenly understand much more about Hinduism or Muslims or the Jewish faith than we ever had access to because they're communicating on a daily basis. It is basically watering down whatever religion they are within. And I'm not saying only Christianity. That goes for anybody who has children stuck within the social media realm. And if they start watering down religion, you can only imagine the dangerous implications behind that. Their belief system will start to spread out. It will start to expand. It won't be as refined and precise to, let's say, what the 10 Commandments are. It's very easy to subscribe to, but once you start to water down those beliefs, you start to get a more globalistic perspective. Again, a melting pot of religions. Of course you're going to see a declination in percentages of formalized religion when you have this melting pot that exists through social media and so many of the other footprints that our children are using. Number 3 that they put on the list is traditional versus non-traditional families. This is a little bit easier to understand. Over half the U.S. population at this point is in a non-traditional family. Husband, wife, children. Once a divorce occurs, that would be considered a non-traditional family. Well, what faith gives room for those children to accelerate and to expand their knowledge and feel comfortable in coming to a service? I don't know myself personally which ones do. I know Catholicism does not have anything written for the children of divorce. Do they feel comfortable going to a church? When God has said he does not accept divorce, how are they going to subscribe to that religion? Again, another major factor when you have 50% of the population. Now, in non-traditional families, how would they subscribe to traditional religion? And again, I want to make the delineation that in the formality, yes, some Christians will obviously allow for all traditional or non-traditional families to be accepted. But when you look at the formalized Bible, is there actually verse that covers it? There isn't. None that I've seen. So now we go on to number 4, which is the loss of confidence in institutions. Oh my gosh, this is such a big topic. I wouldn't know where to start or where to end. It could be a segment in itself. I'll let Lisa handle that because I'm sure she'd have fun with a majority of these by far. And if you take the loss of confidence and you look at the chart on the screen, I don't know about you, I chuckled when I read it because the first one says the only gain in confidence from in a 2015 survey was in the military and small business. Small business, okay, I understand because, again, we need to pull back to that a bit. But the military, a raise in confidence, does anybody watch what's going on in the world? I won't go into the nuclear arms race because that would be my topic, and we'll cover that under a separate segment. But nonetheless, the military. But now look at the bottom of the chart. This is where you start to see, again, substantiation for the fact that religion and Christianity is taking significant losses in the amount of people participating. You'll see banks, a loss of confidence of negative 12%. The church, negative 13%, only exceeded by Congress, negative 16%. I can't see why the last State of the Union would definitely not show any illustration of two sides being able to uncombine in agreement on a majority of issues, which our children are seeing. And I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. But when that's the images we're giving our children, a half of a Congress of the United States sitting and half standing, what other images of that are they seeing in the world today? Are they seeing a loss of confidence in the Catholic faith through priests and pedophiles and Christianity and public financial scandals throughout all religions, the difficulty of which could be so hard for a child to understand, a newer generation to accept a faith that themselves cannot make finite enough to be acceptable enough, to accept enough new members into and feel that they have sanctuary. And this is ultimately the point of the entire coverage, the entire report, is how can we refine our individual religions to be a true sanctuary for our children, to allow them to feel accepted and a part of something greater than themselves. We're losing it. Everything is losing it. Our institutions are losing it. We are demonstrating no foundation, no set principles, and ultimately no place for them to feel safe, secure, and to be able to expand their own knowledge, to be able to expand their own spirituality, to expand their own religion, which has always been available before and something we have to get back to. So once again, I want to thank you for allowing me to fill in for Lisa. This is Justice Knight. You can find me at justiceaknight.com or follow me on Before It's News at Justice Knight.
Back in 2007, when the stock market looked like this, few people were worried because they didn't know what was going on. But look what happened next. The warning signs were there then, just like they are now. The US stock market has never been higher. Many are saying it will go higher, just like they said in 2007. Are you ready for the fall? Do you know what to do? I know what I'll be doing. I'll be calling Noble Gold. I would be finding out about gold and silver IRAs, and quickly. I would want to make sure that my 401ks and IRAs were not exposed to this kind of collapse in the market. Be on the safe side and call Noble Gold today and talk to them. The number's here.